On Thursday, Congress passed and President Biden signed the American Rescue Plan into law. I will read to you part of the law as follows, but it is a very, very long law, many hundreds of pages, so I will not be able to complete that in a 5-minute video. 117th Congress of the United States. An act to provide for reconciliation pursuant to Title II of Senate Concurrent Resolution 5, be it enacted by the Senate and House of Representatives of the United States of America in Congress assembled. Section 1, short title. This act may be cited as the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021. Section 2, table of contents. The table of contents for this act is as follows. I will skip over the table of contents as, it is largely just just titles. And we will begin with Title 1, Committee on Agriculture, Nutrition, and Forestry, Subtitle A, Agriculture. Section 1001, Food Supply Chain and Agriculture Pandemic Response. A, Appropriation. In addition to amounts otherwise available, there is appointed to the Secretary of Agriculture for fiscal year 2021 out of any money in the Treasury not otherwise appropriated $4 billion to remain available until expended to carry out this section. B, Use of funds. The Secretary of Agriculture shall use the amounts made available pursuant to subsection A, 1, to purchase food and agricultural commodities, 2, to purchase and distribute agricultural commodities including fresh produce, dairy, seafood, eggs, and meat to individuals in need, including through delivery to nonprofit organizations, through restaurants and other food-related entities as determined by the Secretary that may receive, store, process, and distribute food items. 3, to make grants and loans for small or mid-sized food processors or distributors, seafood processing facilities and processing vessels, farmers markets, producers, or other organizations to respond to COVID-19, including for measures to protect workers against COVID-19. And 4, to make loans and grants and provide other assistance to maintain and improve food and agricultural supply chain resiliency. C, Animal health. 1, COVID-19 animal surveillance. The Secretary of Agriculture shall conduct monitoring and surveillance of susceptible animals for incidents of SARS-CoV-2, COVID-19. 2, funding. Out of the amounts made available under subsection A, the Secretary shall use $300 million to carry out this subsection. D, overtime fees. 1, small establishment, very small establishment definitions. The terms small establishment and very small establishment have the meaning given those terms in the final rule entitled Pathogen Reduction, Hazard Analysis, and Critical Control Point, HACCP Systems, published in the Federal Register on July 25, 1996, 61 Federal Register 38806. 2, overtime inspection cost reduction. Notwithstanding Section 10703 of the Farm Security and Rural Investment Act of 2002, 7 U.S. Code 2219A, the Act of June 5, 1948, 21 U.S. Code 695, Section 25 of the Poultry Products Inspection Act, 21 U.S. Code 468, and Section 24 of the Egg Products Inspection Act, 21 U.S. Code 1053, and any regulations promulgated by the Department of Agriculture implementing such provisions of law, and subject to the availability of funds under paragraph 3, the Secretary of Agriculture shall reduce the amount of overtime inspection costs borne by federally inspected small establishments and very small establishments engaged in meat, poultry, or egg products processing, and subject to the requirements of the Federal Meat Inspection Act, 21 U.S. Code 601, the Poultry Products Inspection Act, 21 U.S. Code 451, or the Egg Products Inspection Act, 21 U.S. Code 1031, for inspection activities carried out during the period of fiscal years 2021 through 2030. 3, funding. Out of the amounts made available under subsection A, the Secretary shall use $100 million to carry out this subsection. Section 1002, Emergency Rural Development Grants for Rural Healthcare. A. Grants. The Secretary of Agriculture in this section, referred to as the Secretary, shall use the funds made available by this section to establish an emergency pilot program for rural development not later than 150 days after the date of enactment of this act to provide grants to eligible applicants as defined in section 3570.61A of Title VII Code of Federal Regulations, to be awarded by the Secretary based on rural development needs related to the COVID-19 pandemic. B. Uses. An eligible applicant to whom a grant is awarded under this section may use the grant funds for costs, including those incurred prior to the issuance of the grant as determined by the Secretary of Facilities which primarily serve rural areas as defined in Section 343A13C of the Consolidated Farm and Rural Development Act, 7 U.S. Code 1991A 13C, which are located in a rural area, the median household income of the population to be served by which is less than the greater of the poverty line or the applicable percentage determined under Section 3570.63B of Title VII Code of Federal Regulations of the state non-metropolitan median household income, and for which the performance of any construction work completed with grant funds shall meet the conditions set forth in Section 9003F of the Farm Security and Rural Investment Act of 2002, 7 U.S. Code 8103F. To 1. Increase capacity for vaccine distribution. 2. Provide medical supplies to increase medical surge capacity. 3. Reimburse for revenue lost during the COVID-19 pandemic, including revenue losses incurred prior to the awarding of the grant. 4. Increase telehealth capabilities, including underlying healthcare information systems. 5. Construct temporary or permanent structures to provide healthcare services, including vaccine administration or testing. 6. Support staffing needs for vaccine administration or testing. And 7. Engage in any other efforts to support rural development determined to be critical to address the COVID-19 pandemic, including nutritional absence to vulnerable individuals as approved by the Secretary. C. Funding. In addition to amounts otherwise available, there is appropriated to the Secretary for fiscal year 2021 out of any money in the Treasury not otherwise appropriated, $500 million to remain available until September 30th, 2023 to carry out this section, of which not more than 3% may be used by the Secretary for administrative purposes and not more than 2% may be used by the Secretary for technical assistance as defined in Section 306A26 of the Consolidated Farm and Rural Development Act, 7 U.S. Code 1926A26. Section 1003, Pandemic Program Administration Funds. In addition to amounts otherwise available, there are appropriated for fiscal year 2021 out of any money in the Treasury not otherwise appropriated, $47,500,000 to remain available until expended for necessary administrative expenses associated with carrying out this subtitle. Section 1004, Funding for the USDA Office of Inspector General for Oversight of COVID-19 related programs. In addition to amounts otherwise made available, there is appropriated to the Office of the Inspector General of the Department of Agriculture for fiscal year 2021 out of any money in the Treasury not otherwise appropriated, $2.5 million to remain available until September 30th, 2022 for audits, investigations, and other oversight activities, projects, and activities carried out with funds made available to the Department of Agriculture related to the COVID-19 pandemic. Section 1005, Farm Loan Assistance for Socially Disadvantaged Farmers and Ranchers. A. Payments. 1. Appropriation. In addition to amounts otherwise available, there is appropriated to the Secretary for fiscal year 2021 out of amounts in the Treasury not otherwise appropriated, such sums as may be necessary to remain available until expended for the cost of loan modifications and payments under the section. 2. Payments. The Secretary shall provide a payment in an amount up to 120% of the outstanding indebtedness of each socially disadvantaged farmer or rancher as of January 1, 2021, to pay off the loan directly to the socially disadvantaged farmer or rancher, or a combination of both on each. A. Direct farm loan made by the Secretary to the socially disadvantaged farmer or rancher, and B. Farm loan guaranteed by the Secretary, the borrower of which is the socially disadvantaged farmer or rancher. B. Definitions. In this section, 1. Farm loan. The term farm loan means a loan administered by the Farm Service Agency under Subtitle A, B, or C of the Consolidated Farm and Rural Development Act, 7 U.S. Code 1922, and B, a Commodity Credit Corporation farm storage facility loan. 2. Secretary. The term secretary means the Secretary of Agriculture. Section 3. Socially disadvantaged farmer or rancher. The term socially disadvantaged farmer or rancher has the meaning given the term in Section 2501A of the Food, Agriculture, Conservation, and Trade Act of 1990, 7 U.S. Code 2279A. There are many further titles and sections of this law. However, I cannot read all of them in the scope of one video. Obviously, these first few sections were about agriculture, but this law spans a wide range of topics. If you would like to read the rest of the law, which would be an impressive feat, I might add, or just parts of it that concern you or you find interesting, you can do so, as the link will be in the description below.